starting from the keynote speech that will be given by Gianluca Pettitti from Thermo Fisher. Gianluca is now president of Thermo Fisher China and is a senior executive with a really broad international experience that he acquired living abroad in the last 8 years. And he was Europe, South America, China, the next you will decide, I guess. And since 2006, he's in a journey for fostering innovation in the life science space. And Gianluca's experience ranges from startup or businesses that he did starting here in Piedmont, working for General Electric, GE, and after he decided to start his trip around the world, leading, in this case, large organizations in mature but also in highly innovative companies as Thermo Fisher is. He's also chairman of a board of LifeDan, that is a leading Chinese diagnostic company. And also he serves as member of the Future Council for Health and Healthcare at the World Economic Forum. So really, I have a great pleasure to invite Gianluca on the stage for his speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Danilo, and good afternoon, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here today, both professionally as well personally. Danilo missed a very key element of my bio. 15 years ago, I was in this very same place discussing my final thesis and getting my graduation, my Master of Science in Engineering from the Politecnico of Torino. So thanks a lot for inviting us, for having Thermo Fisher Scientific as part of what I define a mission that we collectively have to improve the way we live, improve the human condition in this world. And I was very impressed this morning, and that's why I'm so happy to be here professionally, from the innovations that I've heard when I was participating at Foodcast, as well as here in the session talking about biosensors. It's incredible how vibrant is the space and how much innovation is happening. So it's great to be here with all of you. Now, Danilo, you gave me the spot after lunch. I'm from Piemonte, and my grandpa used to define this spot the ora del riposino, nap time. Now, we're going to talk about precision medicine today, and I have to say that naps are proven to be an element to improve longevity. And so I would recommend all of you, as my very wise grandpa used to do, to have at least 30 minutes nap every day. Obviously, not in the next 45 minutes, please. I want you to be engaged and spend time understanding why we are here and why it's so important what we do every day. Let me start and kickstart us with a video just to share with you what Thermo Fisher is about and why we feel so connected to the vision and the mission that BioCast has that is very aligned with what Thermo Fisher is doing. Let me run a video for you.
Kids question everything. It's a limitless world. It's a good thing some grow up to be scientists. We need more curiosity and people who see possibilities, who see more potential, because questions need answers, and there's so much to do to make our planet healthier, cleaner, and safer. Science is here. Science saves. But where we go from here, the legacy we leave, depends on innovation and what we start solving today. This is our business, providing the tools for science and technologies to break through. Because when we believe in a better future and ourselves, we'll find answers so everyone can grow up in a beautiful world. Thermo Fisher Scientific, the world leader in serving science.
Let me start with a question to all of you. We're going to talk about precision medicine today. And I'd like you to answer by raising your hand. How many in the audience, if given the opportunity to live till 200 years old, would elect to do so? How many of you? Not many students. Guys, life after Politecnico will become much easier, don't worry. I think a more profound question, and by the way, it was the majority of the audience raised their hand. A more profound question, and I'm not going to ask it, but I put it out there, is if given the choice whether to die or not to die, would we elect not to die? And that's something that I believe one of these two questions will be asked to people in this audience at a certain point. I don't know when, but the advancement in technology, the amount of innovation that you're all fostering is improving significantly, obviously, the human condition. Though the situation today is very different. We have, as we stand, close to 60 million people dying every year from a variety of different diseases or even by accident. 60 million people means 150,000 people every day. If you drill down and you look at the cause for death, you'll see that non-communicable diseases are the ones that are taking the majority of the death toll, followed by infectious disease. Actually, it's interesting to see that in the emerged world, the distribution is very different compared to the emerging market. Take, for instance, the African region. You see that the impact of infectious disease, communicable disease, infectious disease as well, defined as infectious disease by and large, is much higher than the average of the world. That means that people don't get to contract non-communicable disease. They die earlier by infections and other forms of diseases. Now, that's also telling about the risk of antimicrobial resistance, for example. There's a lot of discussion around superbugs and the efficacy of antibiotics, while we could see ourselves in 2050 having a much higher incidence of death by non-communicable disease due to that. And we have great technology to counter that. Structural biology has advanced tremendously. And in fact, recently, the Nobel Prize was awarded to 3 scientists that discovered a technology called electron microscopy. Thermo Fisher Scientific actually acquired that technology that enabled to bring structural biology to a whole different level. So eventually, we're going to be able to improve the situation. But looking at the non-communicable disease, at the largest portion of the death, we are segmenting this into macro categories. You'll see that 18 million people are dying every year from cardiovascular disease and stroke, about 9 million from cancer, about 4 million from respiratory disease, and a couple of million from diabetes. So a very high incidence of what I would call preventable disease. In fact, if you think that 18 million people till today die every year from cardiovascular disease, and these are highly preventable, medicine has made huge progress, lifestyle, diagnostic, etc. It's really sad to see this amount of casualty still today. If you look at cancer, 9 million people every year die from cancer. And there's 15 million new cancer cases every year. By the way, out of these 15 million, 5 million, close to 5 million are in China alone. In China, the level of pollution, the level of food safety with pesticides, heavy metal in food and water is clearly a driver for the incidence of non-communicable diseases. But also practice like smoking and drinking. So in fact, if you look at China, the highest incidence in terms of cancers are lung cancer, gastric cancer, liver cancer. These are the ones that are taking the major toll. Highly preventable. Even more sad, I would say, and that's something that certainly at Thermo Fisher we connect a lot with, is there's still 6 million kids that are dying every year out of the 56 million that we talked about before. And the statistic is going in the right direction. From the 90s, where we had close to 15 million casualties in neonatal and below 5 years old, going down to 6 million is a good improvement, but 6 million too many. And I think I do feel a sense of responsibility. I do feel a sense of responsibility from someone that runs a company that creates technology and innovation that enables our customers to make the world a healthier place. And I hope that you share the same sense of responsibility. Now, we truly believe at Thermo Fisher Scientific that a lot of the answers that we're looking for are in what we call precision medicine. Precision medicine needs to be precise, it needs to be personalized, it needs to drive prevention, it needs to be participatory. There's a big component in precision medicine around data. We truly believe that by focusing on fostering precision medicine and enabling a better and more precise health and healthcare, we're going to help in driving a much faster improvement in the way that we prevent, treat, and ultimately eliminate some of the diseases that we talked about. Now, that's where the question comes from, is how long it will be before that question will be posed. But let me share with you what we look at when we think at precision medicine. On the top of the slide here, you have a logical workflow. You think at diseases or health, for instance. You think at preventing and the diagnostic process. You're thinking at therapy selection and treatment. You're thinking at regenerative medicine, very popular nowadays with the novel techniques that you all are familiar with. Now, to drive precision medicine, it's so important to drive precision. And precision comes from data. Precision in medicine, though, is not a more precise individual test. It's a more complete set of precise informations that will enable physicians to pick the best treatment in order to have the best outcome. And that's so fundamental. And it's something that companies like ours and many others are working on, as generating accurate data across multiple sectors of medicine and science is so important. In fact, we have the concept of multi-omics, and you're very familiar, the one of you that are working in the life science field, you're very familiar with this chart probably that was published on Nature some time ago, articulating the different part of omics, starting from genomics all the way to metabolomics. Now, as I think at that from an engineering standpoint, as I go back to 15 years ago or more, sad to say, I would love to be sitting over there, guys. I look at this as a system engineering challenge, where you have a software, an operating system, you have a translation of the information, and you have peripherals that are then the expression of our biology. Sadly for me, my expression in terms of hairstyle is not very good. And that's strictly connected with my genes in Piemonte. But the point being that medicine is evolving from operating on the very far left or right from your end of the spectrum with chemicals that are adjusting the expression of our biology, start to operate in the software, in the DNA, in the genome. I'll give you an example. Statins are a very popular drug, as you know, and they're used from millions of people across the globe. Recently, there's a study done from AstraZeneca leveraging a technology called CRISPR that is able to modify genome substantially of organism. They were able to knock out a gene in mice that is responsible for the regulation of a protein that is then responsible for your level of LDL cholesterol. Now, statins are operating in the transcription and in the peripheral part of our system. CRISPR is operating on the far left. Gene editing is going to bring novel techniques that are going to be able, with minimal intrusion, to be able to resolve some of the most fundamental issues that we have in terms of health. And once for all, gene editing is going to resolve the problem forever. We have a number of customers that are working on that. We absolutely know that there's a lot of bioethical questions that need to be addressed. From a Thermo Fisher Scientific standpoint, we are providing platform and technology to drive science, R&D, and discovery in that field. And we always encourage everybody to work with the highest level of ethics in this field. It's very important. But the power of those techniques are very transformational in the way that disease are either prevented or cured. So precision medicine, though, it's important because it needs to be precise. And as said, it's all about data. Now let me give you a few more examples on how precision medicine is dramatically changing the life of many people. And let me start from the prevention and diagnostic aspect of the equation. If you think at the cost of sequencing a human genome, early in the 2000s, that cost was above $1 billion. Actually, here is the cost per base was more than close to $10,000 a base, and now we are in the cents. Meaning that to sequence a human genome today is a matter of a few $100s. This dramatic reduction in price has been driven from technology. And I was so glad this morning to have the team from the Imperial College. I don't know if you guys are out there. Wave over there. They were, in a way, part of this revolution, as some of the patents that were used to develop semiconductor sequencing were originated in UK at Imperial College. And interestingly enough, semiconductor sequencing is based on a semiconductor that has a pH meter integrated, able to detect variance in pH in wells, millions of wells in a chip, and with a sophisticated algorithm to reconstruct the sequence of the genome at a very affordable cost. So nowadays, the cost of sequencing, that precision is affordable. Now, an example on how that precision was used is from this very beautiful and charming actress, Angelina Jolie. You probably heard about her story. She had 8 family members that passed away because of cancer, mostly breast cancer and ovarian cancer. So in 2013, she decided to undergo a genetic test on her BRCA1 gene that is known to be correlated with breast cancer, combining the positive mutation in the BRCA1 and her familiarity. She had, statistically, 87% chance of contracting breast cancer over the course of her life. So she took a very tough decision in 2013, and she underwent a double mastectomy to reduce the risk of contracting breast cancer from 87% to 5%. She also did a follow-up in 2015, where she had a treatment in order to resolve the ovarian problem, a surgery as well, so that eventually she'll be able now to spend time with her family, enjoy her kids, and seeing them growing. This is transformational. It's personalized, it's precise, it's based on her DNA, and is an example on how technology is significantly improving outcome for a patient, and in this case, a very well-known one. Now let me move to therapy selection and treatment. There's many technologies that can be used, and I'd like to play for you a video that is a video that we're particularly proud of because it's a case that happened in China a few months ago, and that was reported in CCTV. So let me play the video for you, and if we can get the lights down, thanks.
In just 4 months, Shi Junmin's life went from total devastation to a ray of hope. Last December, she was told she suffered late-stage lung cancer. Doctors first suggested she use chemotherapy, but then offered her a chance to take part in a new gene sequencing medical trial. She underwent targeted cancer therapy medicine that is particularly well-suited to treating her cancer. Now, her lung tumor has shrunk by more than half. Doctors traditionally observe changes in the shape and size of cancer cells, but doctors using gene sequencing technology analyze the cancer patient's DNA in order to identify specific areas of interest and concern. In 2013, scientists conducted precision medicine research on 938 lung cancer patients. They discovered that patients who receive targeted cancer therapy live around 1 year longer than patients who don't. 3 years later, the U.S. company Thermo Fisher Scientific teamed up with West China Hospital in China's Sichuan province to form a joint research platform for precision medicine. The use of precision medicine, digital pathology, sample management, and cloud technology at West China Hospital's pathology lab will make this hospital a leading global molecular diagnosis center. The president of Thermo Fisher Scientific says the lab is going to transform the way pathology is done in China.
We continue to see very strong opportunities in China as global innovators and local innovators are fostering precision medicine in an open market environment, as President Xi mentioned recently in Davos, that will generate a bright future for China and for precision medicine here.
The fight to cure cancer isn't over. But for Shi Junmin and all cancer patients around the world, new breakthroughs like precision medicine give them hope of healthier future. Liu Yang, CGTN, Sichuan Province.
Now let me spend 2 minutes to share with you what's going on in China that I think it may be of interest for many of you. China is an amazing place. There's a terrific amount of innovation and experimentation happening in many sectors, including life science. In fact, they were the one of having a clinical trial on CRISPR technology. They are making a big advancement in terms of cell therapies, etc. Now, precision medicine for China is not an option, and I'll explain to you why. China today spends about 5% of its GDP in healthcare. If you compare and contrast this with the US that has exactly the double of the Chinese GDP, spends about 18% in healthcare cost. If you do the math per capita, in China, the government spends about the cost of an apple per capita every day in healthcare. The US spends much more. It's about $8,000 a year. And this comparison is telling, because if China would have to elevate their spending at the same level as the US, it would have to invest another China GDP to elevate healthcare to the same level. So what's the answer? It's technology. And precision medicine is at the center of it. And that's why the Chinese government has been so aggressive in investing in precision medicine. Not a surprise that they announced a $10 billion fund for precision medicine versus the $1 billion investment that has been announced in the US. So that's telling you as well that from an economic standpoint, precision medicine is what, on paper, can enable better outcome and a sustainable development of healthcare in places like China. Now, at Thermo Fisher Scientific, as we mentioned, we're focusing a lot in precision medicine and healthcare. And I'm glad to report, and you've seen it on the video, that we recently got approval for the first OncoMind panel. It's an oncology panel on next-generation sequencing that is capable to basically test 23 different genes and give answer on multiple targets in one test. This is pretty revolutionary for the space. It's now FDA approved and can help US patients that contract non-small cell lung cancer to have a better therapy selection. But also, as you know, Thermo Fisher Scientific is well known for proteomics. Is one of the areas where we're very strong in terms of research. So the focus of the company is to bring together genomics, transcriptomics, metabolomics, proteomics together in a value proposition that is completed with our cloud and data systems that we offer to our customers as a one precision medicine solution. The other example that I want to make that is something that happened very recently is Novartis just got approval for the first immunotherapy on leukemia. It's a drug that was approved recently in the US. And this was done using some of our products as well. It's transformational as obviously immunotherapy and cell therapy is transforming the way that cancer is treated compared to the more traditional methodology of chemotherapy. And that's possible because of the advancement that we have made in stem cells research and the capability of getting the technology to a stage where it can be deployed in the diagnostic space. And finally, as I look at regenerative medicine, and I'm glad because I spent the last couple of days with the team here in Italy, and there's a lot of examples of excellence here in Italy, a spin-off from the University of Modena that recently was able to reconstruct the cornea with stem cells and reimplant it. So great things happening in the space of regenerative medicine that are going to be able to advance, I would say, longevity further. So let me close with a couple of slides, and then we can open up for debate, as I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions, telling you that at Thermo Fisher Scientific, we're here to help. We're here to bring you our best technology, our innovations, in order to enable you to focus on what is important. Create great science and create great innovation. We are at your service, and we're so focused on making sure that collectively, as a community, we can advance faster. We can improve the way that we detect and treat diseases. And on this slide, you have some of the examples, but the essence is what we do is we enable all of you, we enable our customers to make the world a healthier, cleaner, and a safer place. Thermo Fisher is a pretty large organization and pretty complex to navigate. We have a lot of members of the team here today, so reach out to them if you have any questions. But we have 65,000 employees across the globe. that are serving all of our customers, a $20 billion company, and scaling. And we are focusing, as said, in enabling you all to do the best of what you can do, because you have incredible mind and brains. And together, I know we can transform the future of medicine. Let me close with a teaser. We are in a terrific time for medicine, for precision medicine, for health and healthcare. It's going to be down to our capability of detecting relevant information and making sense of all the information that we have to give doctors better tools to make decisions. When I think in nanotechnologies and the capability that you guys have developing technology that can be in the body, measuring parameters, doing diagnostic on a real-time basis, the sky is the limit. If you combine this with the capability that we have today with big data, machine learning, to mine those data and create algorithms that can indicate the right treatment or therapies or lifestyle, we can really go and improve significantly the outcome for patients and the level of prevention. And ultimately, what we should all look for is to make it affordable for everybody. And to do that, we need to have a fast adoption and democratizing science to a deeper level. A lot of people think precision medicine is expensive. If you think at value-based care, it's going to prove that precision medicine is not expensive, because the outcomes are so much better in terms of overall cost compared to what the healthcare system can provide today. I think the ball is in your court, in our court, on how we can together advance faster, create a better outcome for patients, and continue to enable all of you to make this world a healthier, cleaner, and safer place. Thank you very much for your attention today.